This is Mike Nunley Getting Real. This is Mike. Welcome to another episode. I believe this is episode number 5.
Yes.
5. Boy,
Yes,
they're adding up quickly.
I ought to know what number episode we're on.
Today, before we get started, I'm hoping that everybody is enjoying police coffee, policecoffee.com. It's probably the best coffee that I know of that I'm really enjoying almost every morning, and money goes to a good cause. The company gives 50% of all of their proceeds to families of fallen officers, so it's really a win-win. You get great coffee, and it's a great cause, and the company has just got a lot of really good people. So again, policecoffee.com. Today we're going to do something a little bit out of the ordinary for Mike Nunley Getting Real for our podcast. Typically, we have a guest on, and it's an interview in sorts, and the person's telling their story. Today, we're going to do a little bit differently. Today, we've got our son, Brian.
Hello, everybody.
Thank
you for having me
on the podcast with us. You're welcome. And what we're going to do is he's just turned 23 years old yesterday. And
yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday. Right. And so what we're going to do is kind of talk to him about what it's like to be a young man at 23. We're going to go through what it's like on a job, finding jobs, staying with a job, what it's like in relationships, what it's just like trying to kind of figure out life at 23 years old. And we're going to get that information from me. So we're going to call it wisdom from the OG.
God help us.
So exactly. So Brian.
Yes, sir.
At 23, you feeling older?
No, not really.
Not really? Feeling the same? Still feeling like you're 16?
Same, yeah. Still feeling, well, maybe not 16, but yeah, I'm still feeling normal.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's normal?
I shouldn't have said normal because I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Yeah, I figured, man, if you got that answer, we'll just go with that. But, so how's things going in the job market? I know that you moved. So everybody knows you moved from Southern California, moved to Texas.
Yes.
You're working as an electrician apprentice?
Yes. Yeah, medium voltage electrician.
Yeah.
Apprentice, yes.
Yeah. And how's that working out for you? Is it what you thought that it was going to be? Are you enjoying doing it? Is it kind of something you're going to continue to pursue? Well, at 23 years old, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. When I first started out, I was doing more like the building side of it, the actually putting stuff together. Now the job that I'm doing now, I do more testing. So once it's already put together by people like me, when I worked at Brandt, we come in and test all of the switchgear and all the cables and all the equipment, make sure everything's working right, and we do some maintenance here and there depending on what the job site is and what it looks like and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. I like it. I like being able to use my brain every day. It's fun.
This is industrial. This isn't
yes.
This isn't residential type
Correct.
of electric. You're not putting in
right.
a system for a home. You're actually big industrial complex. We're running heavy machinery and that kind of.
Yeah. I mean, because we work a lot. The company that I work for now, all the testing we do, almost all of the testing we do, a huge majority of it is we actually do jobs at water plants all around North Texas. So basically, I don't know a whole lot about the water world and how all that works, but basically how they process water for drinking and process wastewater. And so, all these plants, they have pumps, huge pumps that pump all of this water from the city around to different areas to be processed. And all of those pumps require power, right? And so they all have to be managed in the right kind of way. And so what we do is we come in and we'll test everything. And one thing that's interesting to me is how it seems like every single plant in North Texas and everywhere that we've been has a new phase somewhere. They're doing new stuff at every single plant all around. And so there's a lot of, there's a lot of work for us there. And so that's yeah, it's been really interesting learning.
So is it kind of explain the apprenticeship program? So as a young guy, you go into the electrician field,
Yes.
That particular industry, knowing really nothing.
Right.
And so what's the process? How do you learn? Is there schooling involved, or is it just on the job training, or how does that work?
So it depends. So I didn't get very far into it, into what all it takes. Of course, it's like anywhere else. You be apprentice, and then you be a journeyman, and then so on and so forth. But
right.
With the company that I work for now, I don't think it matters as much because we're just doing testing and stuff like that. So there's a difference between being a contractor and being a testing company, right? And so, there's laws and stuff that you can read about. And so when you work for a contractor, you have to be an apprentice. You have to have a license and stuff like that. Yeah. And after you be an apprentice for a certain amount of time, and then you'll take a test, and then you'll be a journeyman, and then you'll be journeyman for a certain amount of time and take a test. It's just, just like anything else. And
go through the steps,
through the paces,
different levels.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So then what you're doing, is it actual electrical work where you're pulling wire and you're connecting it to transformers or switch boxes or whatever? Or are you just testing the lines?
So at this point in the company that I'm working at right now, just testing. So basically, after the contractor has already pulled all the cables, built all the switch gear, hooked everything up, we'll come in and we'll test it all. And then we'll say, yeah, it's good. Go ahead. And then they'll hook it up through fruition and energize it. And sometimes we have, we'll be there for energizing.
Right.
Because the company I work for started by my boss, Greg Pierce, and he worked for GE for a really long time. And then when GE got rid of all their field technicians, he said, okay, well, I'm going to take, I'm going to take this business. And he started his own company. And so now he works basically for GE and for a company called Reynolds, which Reynolds is a distributor for GE switchgear and stuff like that. So, yeah, so we work under them essentially, and so we'll have to do warranty stuff and things like that per GE.
So which part of electrician's job do you enjoy more? Do you enjoy the construction side of it, or do you enjoy this testing side of it?
There's a gray area in between called controls. That's what I really enjoy. And that has to do with, de-energized work. That is more, building control panels and stuff like that. That obviously has to do, like I said, with de-energized work being that it's before anything is turned on and stuff, because you're actually building a panel to control something. That's what I really enjoy. Testing, I do enjoy, but not nearly as much as controls. And as far as construction side of it, I don't really enjoy that much. So that's why, that's also why I stopped working for Brandt, because I was going to be, digging trenches and stuff like that. And some guys really like that, and some guys are really good at that, and that's what they do, and they're damn good at it. And I just didn't enjoy it as much. My time at Brandt, I got to do a lot of different stuff. I got to build control panels, and I got to learn how fiber optics work and learn how to splice fiber and all kinds of stuff like that. And that's really where I was really enjoying myself.
So where you're at today, where you are at and just doing the testing part of it, do you see yourself there long term? Do you see yourself, is this a career, or is this kind of just a stopover onto maybe something different?
I thought it would be kind of a career move. I thought that I would stick with it. But fact of the matter is, I just don't enjoy testing that much. It's a little bit mindless. Of course you have to think, you have to think at first, but when you're testing things, depending on what you're testing, you run a test set and you're sitting there watching the numbers go for an hour, and that's all you do. And I don't enjoy that very much. I like being able to work, kind of with my hands and do things and use my brain and stuff. And there's a lot of times where, I'll end up sitting there for 6 hours watching, a test set run. And
so where do you see yourself? Where do you see yourself landing? What do you think that you're going to be doing?
That's been the question of the year for me.
I think it's been the question for a lot of people your age that
of course,
really don't have that direction.
Yeah.
It's just I mean, have you ever? Let me ask you this: have you ever had a direction yet as a young man in your professional field, or has it always been whatever lands on your plate? You're going to run with it. Hopefully, you like it. But have you ever stopped to really think about, okay, what is it that's going to make me happy going to work?
I've stopped plenty of times to ask that question, but I've never answered that question for myself. And I think that's the problem. And I like a lot of things. I like doing all kinds of stuff. I like, doing mechanic work, but I don't like doing it as a job. I like doing I liked being a welder, but I didn't make enough money, so it wasn't worth it. I wouldn't mind being a welder, but if I were able to make enough money to support my habits and, which is building cars and stuff like that I enjoy doing. So to answer your question roughly, no, not really. Yeah. I haven't really figured out what it is. I've never really had a direction and chosen it and stuck with it. And if I did, I probably would be in a different place today.
So what's stopping you from doing it? What's stopping you from really taking the time and really taking a look at you at this point in time in your life at 23? You can see the different options that are out there.
Yeah.
You may not see all of them, but you can see options that are out there for you to choose from. What's stopping you from looking at these options and making some type of a choice and then making a plan to go from where you're at to get to whatever it is that you choose?
Self-doubt mostly. Self-doubt and the fear that I'm going to get into something and then not like it. And I've been trying to kind of work through that a little bit and, just in myself and thinking, that whole mantra of you never know till you try kind of thing. I've been trying to instill that a little bit more in my thought process. But yeah, a lot of just just a fear that I'm not going to like it and I'm going to be wasting time pursuing something that I'm going to ultimately not enjoy and not make a career out of anyways.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that everybody that's getting up in the morning and going to work likes and enjoys what they do?
No. For majority, no.
Right.
I'm sure there's a small exception of people that really just truly enjoy their job, but no.
And,
otherwise,
and that's kind of one of the areas that we should probably talk about because as you start to get older, your window of opportunities of changing careers becomes less and less and less. Because you want to eventually end up in something that you're going to have some staying power in so that you can develop some tenure, because that's the only way you're going to advance. It's the only way you're going to start to make more money, is through experience and through experience in the same field or industry. And so at 23, you have maybe 3 years left of bouncing before you really have to make a decision and stick with that decision. So
26 is it? 26 is the ticket?
26, 27 years old, right in that, 25, 26, 27. I mean, it depends on who you are, but that's the window, because at that age now you're getting into a new industry where you don't know anything and you're trying to figure it out. And that's going to take you a few years. Okay. So then by the time you're 30, you got it kind of figured out. You have some experience. You're a viable employee because you do have this experience, and hopefully you are showing up on time and you're working hard and you're doing all the things, and the employer says, yeah, Brian's really a good guy and he's really going to go someplace, and so now you're 30 years old. Now you start taking on smaller steps of responsibility. So by the time you're through your 30s and in your 40s, you're in some type of a, let's say, management position and running crews
Right.
and running people. So you don't have a lot of time. Now, can people change careers? It's been done, absolutely. People that have, got laid off and their industry is crashing, they have to go into something else, and they're in their mid 30s or whatever. But also, too, what goes along with that is they have tenure in something else, and it may not be related to what they're going into, but they're shown a history of being able to work, be a hard worker, be a responsible worker, do these things that are transferable. So it's difficult, sure, but it's not as difficult as when you're younger and you keep trying to change.
Your transcripts matter a lot more when you're older, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
People want to see that, say if it's a management position, you can maybe, if you've been in a management position and you have tenure in a management position and that industry fails, well, you still have that management experience that can overlay itself into another field. So with you have a few more years, but sooner or later, and this is one of the issues that I see with young people today, is that they seem to be looking for the perfect situation,
Right.
the perfect job.
Right.
I hear it all the time. I want to have fun. I want to enjoy it. I want to look forward to going to work. I don't care what it is that you do. Sooner or later, it's going to become a job. It just does. You
Right.
can have the best. I mean, you can pick the best job ever, and sooner or later, getting up, going to work, is not as much fun as it used to be.
Right.
So,
That sucks.
and my saying is that's why they call it work.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Otherwise, they
Yeah.
call it vacation.
Right.
But it does and it doesn't, because you have to start looking at what work is. Work isn't just an occupation. Work isn't just the job. Work is opportunity, and work is freedom. And I know that sounds like it's an oxymoron, but the truth is that even though you have to go to work, you're locked into going to work, you don't have a choice of going to work. By doing that and going to work and making a salary, that salary is giving
Allows
you
you
freedom.
Freedom. Right.
And without that, you don't have anything. So it's just the whole premise of Mike Nunley Getting Real, the podcast, is about working class guys. Working class men and women that go to work every single day, and it doesn't matter. I don't care. And I always draw the illustration of the guy that works at the grocery store, or the electrician, or the iron worker, or the doctor, or the nurse. It doesn't matter. All of them are completely different fields, but they're all jobs. I don't care who you are. Even when you look at it, an employer has a job. Just because he calls the shots, he's the one that's taking the risk, he still has to get up every day. He still has to go to the office, and he still has to perform.
Right.
So all of us are in this thing together. And none of us are better than the other. We're all in it doing the same thing. Some get paid more than others. That's because that job requires a little bit more experience, or it's a little bit more stress, or it's, a very limited number of people know how to do it, whatever that it is. But it's always the same at the end of the day. It's a job.
Yeah.
And we don't always like it. I've been doing what I do for 42 years. There's been a lot of times, wake up in the morning, the last thing I want to do is get out of bed, put my pants on, put my work boots on, and walk out the door.
Right.
But we do it because without it, everything else that we have falls apart.
Yeah.
It doesn't take too long either. Today's world, most people, if they're out of work for more than a month without income, they're in dire straits. the idea of 6 months of income sitting in the bank is a beautiful idea.
Mm-hmm.
But I have known very few people that have been able to pull that off when they are paying mortgages, raising kids, making car payments,
Mm-hmm.
doing whatever. There's not a lot of money left over that you're going to put in the bank
Right.
for that rainy day.
Right.
So there's a lot of people that are out there that are forced into what they're doing, and they have to learn how to make the best of it. It's like you have to look at the bright side. One, you got a job. I'm not talking specifically about you, but as a person, as a young man, if you have a job, man, hold on to that job. Feel thankful that you've got that job. And if your employer is paying you every Monday, every Thursday, every Friday, whatever the payday is, and every week you get your paycheck, and every week you go to the bank and that check's good, be thankful. That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because now, if you get paid on a Friday and you go to the bank and you put that check in the bank and you paid your bills, and now it's Saturday and Sunday and you got time off, and you got time off to enjoy your house, you got time off and enjoy your kids, you got time to enjoy the boat that you bought, all kinds of that freedom that this job has given you, you get to enjoy. So
Right.
the whole point is that when people start talking about jobs and start thinking about what they want to do and how important it is for them to be happy, happiness is an amazing thing. Absolutely be happy. But your job is not always going to make you happy. You have to find happiness in that job or in your life yourself, and not look for this. It's no different than for me to say, I want Brian to make me happy. It's not your job to make me happy.
Right.
It's my job to make me happy.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing when you have a job. You can't say, I want to go to work and be happy at what I do. If you want to be happy, make the choice to be happy and figure it out and take a look at it and say how fortunate that you are that you're doing what you're doing. Look at the bright side. And I think that's the biggest step that's missing in today's world, is everybody is so critical about what they do and what they expect,
Mm-hmm.
that they take something that's really good, like a really good paying job, and turn it into a pain in their ass.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
you
Yeah, and that's hard. I mean, it's of course it's always hard to stay positive and stuff like that. It's hard to appreciate the little things and stuff like that, but it's definitely a valuable thing. And I think just being young, I get sidetracked a lot, right? I get sidetracked with,
Sure.
The things I don't have. And it's definitely, like I said, I'm trying to work on some things. It's definitely something that I'm trying to focus on.
That's really a good point. I mean, you bring the OG out of me when you say that,
Yeah.
because that is really the truth. When people start looking at all the things they want,
Right.
that's a kiss of death, because it's insatiable.
Yeah.
You can get everything that's on your list today, and I'll guarantee you next week you got a new list.
Yeah,
it is
exactly.
freaking impossible to fulfill. That is the one thing that I feel as an elder statesman now, is that I really and truly have very few wants and desires. There was a time, really, when I chased it all. And I really thought that all of it was going to make me happy.
Yeah.
And then I got all of it. And it made me...
I know we've had some crazy conversations about cars and houses and 60-foot trees. And it's like, it's crazy.
Yeah. And really all that did, not only didn't make me happy, it created more stress in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Because now I was trying to keep all those balls up in the air.
Right.
And it was miserable. And the happiest I have been was when I have had the very least. And I had the minimal amount of cool stuff. Now for me today, I've got a surfboard hanging on the wall right there behind us, and that makes me happy.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much. That and a good wetsuit. or my van to get me down to the beach.
A podcast, apparently.
Well, yeah, we're still waiting to see on that one.
I know. We'll see.
No, this is actually the podcast itself is a lot of fun, and that's a whole other conversation because that's about taking risk,
right?
Which we'll hit in a little bit,
right?
But as far as work and being happy and trying to find the perfect job, I'm here to tell you, and hopefully we have a lot of younger people listening to this podcast. There's no such thing as a job that is going to make you totally and completely happy, because it's always going to be something amiss. There's always going to be something that's going to throw you off balance. There's always going to be somebody that makes you mad, so it's just part of the game.
Absolutely.
So you find your own happiness and don't look for the job to make you happy.
Right.
So it's it's just an important part of growing up is to not be totally satisfied, because that's how you experiment. That's how you kind of grow. That's how you and you're going to bounce around. I mean, when I was younger, I worked in a nursery. I was a landscaper. I worked in an oil refinery. A car salesman. I mean, there was a number of things that I did, and none of them were really very long periods of time.
Mm-hmm.
They were probably, maybe a year at the most, 6 months here, 6 months there, just trying to figure out. None of them were jobs that I was going to stick with. They were there pretty much just to pay bills. And then out of the blue, and we had that conversation earlier, was how I fell into the crane industry.
Right.
It was all happenstance. It was all accidental. I didn't search for it. It just came to me just out of the blue, and it's 42 years later. And as I said, have I always loved it? No. There were times I thought about doing other things, but it paid well. It was secure. There was health insurance. There was, I had a family I had to take care of. I mean, it's all of a sudden you're just in this place, and you look at your responsibilities,
mm-hmm.
and you look at the job as giving you freedom, and you soldier on. You just, it's like it's like our tech guy, Alec. I've had a lot of conversations with him about work and about, whether you like it or don't like it. And I've seen the transformation in him over the last year or so. But I ask him, so what do you do? I get up, I put my jeans on, put my work boots on, and I go to work. And that's what we do.
Yeah.
We as men and women, I don't want to, divide the two. We just get up and we go and do it. The working class just gets up and goes to work and does it.
Gets it done. Yeah.
So
I think the main focus for me right now, because I'm comfortable in knowing the fact that I'm kind of coasting right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, nothing's for sure. I don't know anything for sure. I don't have any answers at the moment, and I'm kind of content with that because my main focus right now is just remaining presentable and approachable.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like there's a lot of value in happenstance. I feel like there's a lot of value in just being able to have a conversation with anybody, because that's how, just like what you did with Bob Hill,
mm-hmm.
like stuff like that. You didn't know who that guy was.
Right.
But real quick he did, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and it's created an entire 42-year-old career. And I think there's a lot of value in the possibility of that happening. And so it's important to me to remain approachable. And
well, that's one thing that you definitely have to do. You have to stay open-minded towards everything. The minute that you stop being open towards happenstance or just luck, or call it whatever that you will,
mm-hmm.
You're closing out a big portion of life, because life is about things just happening.
Right.
Just, you know, standing behind somebody at Starbucks. And,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
next thing you know, you're married to
Yeah,
him.
no joke.
You know, you know, it's a great life experience, especially when new things come across your path, and it gives you opportunity to expand. But the main thing is that you have to have something that's solid at all times. And you may not love it. It may not be your choice. It may not be, you know, what you thought about when you were 10 years old, and, you know,
Right.
you know, it's still, if it's solid, if it's secure, and it's taking care of your bills, and it's giving you the freedom to do things that you want to do,
Yeah. Yeah.
you freaking hit a home run.
All the value in it right there. Yeah,
Right there.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't, you know, because really, if I had my way, you know, when I was 7 or 8 years old and I'm thinking about what I wanted to do, I'd be.
What was that?
I wanted to be a cowboy on a ranch.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah. I mean, that was the goal. That was the dream, you know, and come to find out, I really don't like horses, and I don't like riding, and I don't, you know, all the things. So, you know,
Being
probably
in the country, though, you can't argue with that.
yeah, I don't know, you know.
I know you're a beach guy. I know.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Well, now that I've grown up, now I want to grow up and I want to be a professional surfer. So
Good luck with that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be standing on the beach going.
Yeah, I think
So close.
It is not. It is not going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you know, and that's a whole other thing too. You know, a lot of kids today are growing up with this idea, and it's been force fed to them.
Mm-hmm.
You can be anything you want to be. You know, you just have to put time into it. You have to put energy into it, you know, but you can be anything you want to be. And I'm here to tell everybody that's not true. We can't all be astronauts.
There's only so many.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you know what? Even if it's not, we're not all geared to it. You know, you can think it all you want. You can wish it all you want. You can visualize it all you want. But if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. It's like, how many kids growing up want to be professional baseball players? I'm sorry, you're not all going to play professional baseball. I don't care how much you want to. I don't care how much you practice. You're not going to be a professional baseball player. It's just not in the cards. So you can't be everything that you think you want to be.
Contrary to popular parental belief.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, so you've got to find out what makes you happy, what makes you enjoyable. And it's like you were saying, you didn't enjoy the part of being an electrician and being in the trenches and running conduit and pulling line, and you know that's hard work, and I got most respect for little guys that do it.
Absolutely.
You know,
yeah.
And you're bored just doing the testing, but controls are kind of like an area where, you know, it piques your interest, makes you think.
Right.
So those are the things that you really have to look at, and it may never be that one particular thing that you do, but there will be something else that comes along the line that emulates that very same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so you don't know what you don't know at this point. But one, you definitely have to keep your eyes open. Two is you really do need to stop and really give some thought to what it is that you want to do. Yeah, things do happen. There is luck. There is somebody just out of the blue approaching you and carrying on a conversation, and they may not offer you a job, but you may find out what they're doing, and you may, oh, wow, I would really like to do that. You never know, but for the most part, you know,
it's still important to know.
You still got to figure yourself out and kind of figure out what you want to do, and then once you do, stick with it. Make a commitment. Don't waver. You know, because otherwise, if you waver and you don't stick with something, you'll never really truly be successful at it, because you'll just go in and out and never give yourself an opportunity to really learn and know something.
Yeah, and staying focused and keeping your interest, you know, even keeled is also something that, you know, I've tried to focus more on. And it's, you know, I mean, droning is hard sometimes, you know, but I mean, I guess you're right. And I feel like if, you know, if I were to make a change, I'm definitely more realistic over anything. So I'm not going to I'm not going to just quit because I can't stand it and go find something else. I'm the kind of person that wants to find something else and then quit when it's absolutely right. So, but until then, keeping, just respecting it for what it is and appreciating the fact that it's a job, and a lot of people right now don't have jobs, and I'm getting a paycheck every week, and
that's and you said it right there. One thing is that you have to appreciate it, because what ends up happening, and I've seen it after all my years, and most of my career has been in management, so I've managed a lot of employees over that time, and you can always notice when somebody is losing interest in what they do for a living, because their productivity drops off. Their enthusiasm drops off. Their time at work starts to drop. A lot of different things start showing. It's red flags that go up. And as the number of years I spent in management, I got a lot better at recognizing the red flags earlier on rather than way too late. And so it's one of the things that you have to keep in mind. If you're not completely and totally 100% happy with what you're doing, don't let it show.
Yeah,
don't let it show.
That's scary.
Yeah, don't let it show. You still have to show up on time. You still have to put in your work, your effort, your energy. You can't cut the corners. You can't take too much time off. You can't, all the things that you want to do because you're not happy doing what you're doing, you have to fight against those things. And again, that's what working class people do. I mean, there are millions of people every single day that aren't really happy with what they're doing. And for me, what I do for work is I'm in and out of a lot of different industries.
Yeah.
A lot of different industries. And I walk into some industries that I just amazed that anybody is working there. It's just amazes me. And yet you see the people are there, and not only are they there, not only are they working, but they're all happy.
Right.
Working.
Yeah.
And it's something I can't say I would never do. If I had to do it and I had to support my family, I would be there and I'd be doing it.
Doesn't mean you would enjoy it though.
But it doesn't mean I would enjoy it. And I've seen people doing the craziest things in laughing and enjoying it. I had some guys that we just redid our pool, and the crew that I had working here that were chipping the old plaster off the pool. I mean, this was back-breaking, loud. These guys were the happiest people ever. They were singing at lunchtime. They were laughing the whole day, not just early in the morning. And they were as pleasant leaving in the afternoon as when they arose first thing in the morning. I mean, these guys, and it was back-breaking, torturous work that these guys do day in and day out.
Yeah.
Is just crazy. So, people find joy and they find happiness, and
getting to that level of contentment would be ideal. Being content with what it is. I mean, it's hard work, but you have to do it, and you know that. And so you just with it. You're happy with it. You're happy. You enjoy yourself and the people you work with and stuff like that, because they all have to do it too.
Yeah.
I mean, the world needs people to scrape the plaster off of old pools,
Absolutely do.
Yeah.
And you look at them, and while they're working and while they're doing it, and they're going to go home dog tired. I mean, I can't imagine. I would go home and plop down on the couch and it wouldn't move.
Yeah.
It's something you probably get used to, accustomed to, because these guys weren't young guys. I mean, they weren't like in their 20s, doing this. These guys were in their late 30s and 40s.
Right.
And that they're still kicking it, and just all the admiration in the world for them.
Absolutely.
But this is just another one of those lessons, is that you can be happy at anything that you are doing, because their happiness is just a mindset. If you switch it and you go to work happy, the problem is there are so many very negative people walking around that when you get close to them, you would think that you can turn them and be a little bit happier, be a little bit more positive. But the truth of the matter is, it's like the old sayings, and being an OG, being an old guy, I love old sayings. and the one spoiled apple spoiled the barrel, kind of
right.
thing,
Yeah.
And
that is an OG.
Yeah, definitely. And but it's the truth, because very seldom do you ever see the positive bring in the negative over to the positive side.
Yeah.
That negative, and I think it's because we are all more geared towards it. Being negative is a lot easier. Let's just face it.
Very much so.
You don't have to think. You don't have to do it. You can just be grumpy.
Yeah.
You can be grumpy. You can be an ass. You can do whatever you want to do, and you don't have to try. The problem with it is it's a miserable way to live your life. So if you're allowing your job to make you into this type of person, or your job, you're working with people that are this type of person, you need to make a mind change, because you may not be able to leave your job.
Right.
And this guy's not going to leave his job. No matter how much he complains and bitches about it, he's not going to leave his job.
Yeah.
So he's going to be there. You're going to be there. So it's up to you. You have the choice. Either you're going to be an ass just like him, or you're going to be the guy that's always happy, and you're going to be the guy that's looking on the bright side, and you're going to be the glass half full. It's a choice. Nothing in your life is going to change it to, it is what it is. So you have the choice. Well, I'm either going to be a happy guy, or I'm going to be a guy that's full of, hate and anger and bitterness.
But sometimes it takes a lot to realize that you're not being a happy guy. It takes a lot to realize that, and then to realize that it's possibly because you're around somebody who's negative.
Mm-hmm.
All of that. I mean, it comes with hard lessons. That's when you finally figure out, okay, I'm being negative. I'm not pleasant to be around because I'm complaining about everything all the time. I mean, I had one of those hard lessons very recently.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been very negative. I've had a hard, couple of months, just with everything, but being negative all the time obviously hasn't helped, because my issues are still the same, because I'm doing the most I can about them.
Right.
And it's important for me to remain calm and level-headed, and not be hard to be around.
Well, it takes that, but also, in order to really be bona fide happy, happy in your heart. Mm-hmm. It's there are ways of looking at it. To me, happiness, you hear a lot of that. People talk about their love cup or their happy cup, that they're giving so much of their happiness to somebody else. They're just They're draining my cup. They're not giving me anything to replace what I'm putting out.
Right.
Okay. Well, the problem with that is it's nobody's responsibility to fill that happy cup but your own. You can't look for a spouse or a girlfriend or an employer or best friends or anybody to come in and make you happy. That's to me, that's no different than saying, you know what, I can't control my emotions, Brian, so here, I'm going to give them to you. You take care of these for me, okay? Help me out here. Make me happy.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
And
Happiness,
if you don't, you're the worst.
yeah, exactly. But it's never going to happen, because
Right.
it's not anybody else's responsibility to
Right.
make you happy but your own. But we put that responsibility on other people all the time, until you come to terms with it's not their job, it's your job. You're always going to be that unhappy guy.
Right.
And you're always going to feel like people are taking more from you than they give back in return, which is never really the way it is. It's just a perception.
Yeah.
And probably if you really stopped and thought about it, we don't give near as much to other people as we think we do. We're not
that's very true.
We are not as good of people as we really think we are. We all have a lot of room to grow and to be better and to be, just more giving, more whatever it is, and yet we don't want to look at it. It's easier to point the finger at somebody else. That took me a really long time, and for me to give you that information, and not, and I say this lovingly, not expecting you to take any of that information to heart, because I don't know that you're capable yet. And it's not you as Brian not capable. I just don't think anybody at your age is capable of doing that. You're still too busy, one, trying to figure yourself out, figure out your direction, figure out which way you want to go, figuring out things in life, that for you to also stop and take responsibility for your own failures at this point is not probably realistic. But when it really comes down to crunch time, and you are really battling with somebody or a job or whatever, when you really get down to that point, that's when you really need to look at yourself and say, okay, what part do I play in this? And be honest and be open, and don't be afraid to take responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think it's important, and it's very, very hard to look in the mirror. It's very hard to say that I did anything wrong. I mean, especially if I have, a feeling about what happened, whatever it is, pick your poison. But if I have a feeling about what happened, and I'm angry at some person for doing something, it's like, I'm like, I didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, I yelled at him and told him to F off, but he deserved it, And it's like, that's not always the case. I mean, that's not right. That's not always true. So yeah, absolutely.
No, it's absolutely not. And very seldom is it the truth. I have, over the years, been in one or two relationship altercations, and every single time when I'm standing there defending my position, I can look back now, and all I was doing is digging my hole deeper. That's all I was doing, because as I have found out now in looking back at some of these failed relationships, is that I played a 50% role. I don't care what it was. I don't care what it was. I've had relationships where my girlfriend or whatever, I find out is cheating on me. And at the time, it's 100% her. It's 100% why she's doing this. I can't believe she did this to me. I can't believe that she's hurt me this bad. But it's only until you reflect later on the things you did or didn't do that opened up the door to that happening. And that's where
absolutely.
And that's where you grow right there. That when you do at that point, that's where you grow. That's where you become a better person. That's where the next relationship, you're not going to make that fall. I look back at a number of relationships that I left because it just wasn't working out for me. It just wasn't what I wanted. They're not giving enough. They are not enough for me, or what? I mean, any number of reasons why.
Yeah.
I look back now, and they were all bullshit. All of it.
In what sense of the word?
Is that every time I look back, the problems were repairable. You could have fixed them. You could have made a change. Now, could I, at some of the relationships where it wasn't my thought, my idea to leave? No. I mean, once somebody else makes up their mind, you're not going to change. You're not going to battle. There's nothing you can do.
Right.
But on the ones where I chose, I look back and it's like, I could have fixed that.
There was always something more you could have done.
There was another step.
Hindsight 2020.
There was another step. There was another, conversation. There was something there that could have been repaired. But I would bail and take the easy way out.
Well, but
and
that's
then I always look back and I think, why? And then over time, of course, you get through it all, and then you move on, have another relationship, and this is why it all worked out that way because I'm so happy now, that kind of a thing.
But that's not to say, right, like that, there's always, of course, a certain point where you've done what you could, right? And if you would just expect somebody to, or you wish that somebody even would change to be what you want them to be, you can't like, first of all, it's not up to you, right? It's not your responsibility to change them, and it's not their responsibility. They're not obligated to change for you, right?
Can I interrupt you for
Yeah,
one
of course,
second?
yeah.
So I'm thinking about this. Okay, you're right. It's if you're going into something thinking that somebody needs to change for you,
Right.
you're wrong. You're wrong right out the gate, right there, right then. There, you thinking that they need to change for you, because what you're saying is you're not good enough your way. You need to be my way.
Right.
Okay, and that's bullshit.
Right.
That is, nobody needs to be your. You have to get to a point to where you look at somebody and say, I accept you for who you are. I love you for who you are. It's kind of like we're talking about jobs. Tell that job, I love you for who you are.
Right.
I love you for what you give me. You're giving me money, freedom, and all this stuff. I love my job. Whether you really love doing that job is a whole other thing. But loving the job of what it gives you and what it affords you, the same in a relationship. If you're with somebody that at one point in one time you say, I love you, this is perfect, I'm so happy, shit didn't change. It's all the same. You're just looking at it through a microscope now.
Right.
Now you're finding the little cracks, the little crevices, the little things that were always there that you just didn't pay attention to before. And typically, and this is where I have learned, typically it's not even them. It's not even the situation. It's other things that are going on in your life that you are saying, this sucks over here and this sucks over here. I can't do anything about this. Can't do anything about this.
Yeah.
Huh. She's over here. Yeah, I can do something about that. And so you're taking all this aggravation out on somebody that had nothing at all to do with the things that are aggravating you. And you're laying the blame on it and saying, well, no, this aggravates me about you and this aggravates me about you. But they didn't. A year ago, 5 years ago, whenever it was that, you got married or, whatever. But all of a sudden now you're looking for stuff to blame and not looking at yourself and saying, I play a big role in this. And that's where most relationships crumble, is because somebody doesn't want to stand up and take accountability for their own actions. So they are laying the blame over onto somebody else, which eases their conscience. So if they walk away, yeah, well, she didn't do this, or he didn't do this, or they always did this, they always this way,
Right.
And it's easier on your conscience to walk away. You can
makes you feel better about.
Well, it's what I call selling. You're selling it to all the people around you,
right?
So that you could still be the good guy, and you don't care about this person, how bad you make them look. As long as you come out of it, you sold it that I did.
Be the worst guy in the world, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry that she treated you like that."
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
You're like, I know it was hard for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like in relationships, especially young relationships, because you all think that everything that is going on and happening right now, this moment, today, is going to be that way forever. And it's not. If it lasted 6 months, it would be a long time. A lot of times, maybe it lasts a year, but you look at a year period over another 40 or 50 years, nothing. People don't give it enough opportunity and chance to fix itself. We're in a society, and I think a lot of it has to do with our technology, and we're so accustomed now of seeing everything immediate, everything's fixed.
Instant gratification.
Yeah, you know, it's like, oh, I'm having a problem with my relationship. Let me Google this.
Yeah, what's going on? Yeah.
And
need to take a test online.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, So it's that impatience of working through certain things that we have, that everybody wants that immediate fix. And there's no immediate fix to things. Sometimes it's just writing it out. It's just two people writing it out and is funny because when you start to ride things out and you start to just let things kind of go on their own and you don't give it a lot of energy and a lot of how quickly they abate and go away. You know, because whatever it is that brings people together, it's still there. It just got clouded.
Lost in the...
Yeah. Lost in the minutia.
Right.
You know?
I think it's, I mean, because it's also, it's a want for instant gratification mixed with a fear that it's never going to change.
Yeah.
You know, and that stews together to make more fear, right? And that's the point when, you know, I'm like, ugh, screw it. Like, I don't want it. Like, you know what I mean? I don't want it because I don't want to find out. I don't want to know. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to get further into things and find out whether or not it's going to change, you know?
That's called the fear of being hurt.
Well, yeah. But also fear of, like I said, getting too far into, you know, like when you get more responsibilities together, you know, and things like that. You have a kid, whatever it is, you know, that makes things so much more difficult, you know, later on.
It's always going to be that way, though. You're never going to, because if you were to get involved with somebody that everything's going great, and then there's kids, but you didn't give it any thought because everything is going so good, and now you have the kids, and all of a sudden things are not going good.
Yeah.
You're in the same boat as if you were to work through it with somebody and then have kids, and then the chances are if you're working through it before kids and then you have kids, things are going to be smoother sailing anyways. If you've never had ups and downs and problems in the very beginning without the kids, and then you have kids, more than likely the kids are going to be that catalyst that, you know, creates some confusion.
So what's the answer? Just let it go, let it be.
No, you don't let it go, but you also don't quit on it. You don't give up on it. You don't walk away from it. You know, you stick to it. And this is one of the things, and you know, being a son, that, you know, men work through stuff. We don't waver. We don't give in. We don't quit. And I learned that the hard way. You know, I have made my mistakes, but I didn't have anybody telling me otherwise. I filled myself up with me instead of looking at the bigger scope or the bigger picture. Mm-hmm. And that's what men do. And that's what I've trained myself to do now, is to never waver. Be strong. Don't quit. Don't give in. You know, you have to. Because unless somebody has, you know, done something egregiously wrong to you, you know, had affairs, you know, lie, cheating, you know, robbed a bank, you know, whatever. Everything else is, if you've gotten this far with somebody, you work it out and stop trying to make people be what you want them to be, and allow them to be them and learn to value and appreciate them for them. You know, it's, I mean, you know, Mom.
Somewhat.
Yeah.
I've met her. Yeah.
You know, Mom is, and I always tell her this, she is the nicest person that I have ever met, ever.
Yeah.
You know, amazing lady, smart beyond smart, you know, what she's doing in law school right now just blows me away.
Yeah.
You know, her work ethic, being so tenacious, just, you know, she's a great mom. But her ADD, oh my God.
Oh, it's a killer, isn't it?
It is. But you know what? It's her. It's her. And I look at her sometimes and I'll see a trash can, you know, the trash can from the bedroom or some of the little small ones sitting on the counter. It'll be there for a day. And I go, why is this still here? Oh, well, I put it there because I was emptying the trash. And then I remember there's something in the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom to get this, and there was a towel. So I went to put the towel in the wash.
And then Steven called.
And then somebody called, and it was like,
yeah.
What?
Exactly.
yeah. But that's mom, you know? And while sometimes I can feel frustrated from it, the other part of it is I love her to death for it. You know, you have to take certain idiosyncrasies that people have and they've always had, and they didn't just develop them to irritate you, and you have to learn to turn it and love them for it, because that's what makes them unique. You know, not everybody's going to be Brian, you know, and you'll admit to this too. Thank God. You know, it's, you know, the world needs one Brian. We don't need two Brians. Right. Just like the world needs one Mike, we don't need two Mikes. You know,
even one's pushing it.
Exactly. Sometimes.
I'm just kidding.
But so you have to take a look at these people that are in your life, and you have to allow them to freedom to be them. And you know, we just can't be argumentative about everything. We can't stand our ground on principle over everything. Sometimes you just got to go whatever. You know, you know, it's.
I think I've learned a lot more about that concept, and just, you know, being around like my dad for the first, you know, actually being around him every day. You know, there's, I mean, that's just one example, but it's, you know, coworkers, anyone, whoever it is, you know, there's a certain point where I go, okay, you know, all right, cool. Yeah, I get it. Like I don't need to stand my ground. Like you said, I don't need to argue. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not necessary. It's not always necessary.
It's also like my favorite saying, and you know what this is because I said it to you plenty of times as you were growing up too.
Which one?
Yeah. Then I don't like to swear on the podcast, so I'll just say it was, I just effing don't care.
Right.
I don't care.
Right.
And you used to get
I remember
so mad. Yeah. You get so mad because you'd be trying to explain.
Why?
Yeah. You'd be explaining something and I go, I don't care. I don't care. It's going to be this way and I don't care. So the same thing is when somebody's being, you know, kind of pushy, and somebody's being controlling, or somebody's just being mean, or just, you know, I don't want to be around them. Right. And people can make all the excuses in the world. Well, I don't care. I don't like mean people anymore. I don't tolerate mean people. I don't tolerate people that are controlling. I just don't. I've come to a point in time in my life where I'm done with it, over with it. If you're mean, stay out of my world. But that's not I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
And you got to get that way sometimes. And if somebody in a relationship is, you know, like frustrating you, doing something, you know what? You just got to get to a point where I don't care.
Yeah.
That's who they are. I love them for who they are. They're kind of irritating me right now. I'm going in the garage.
Right. Because, I mean, it's like there's a certain point where, you know, looking in the mirror doesn't always have to be what I did bad, right? Looking in the mirror could also be what do I need? Yeah. You know, it's self-analyzing for the pros and the cons.
Absolutely, yes.
You know what I mean? And it's like there's a certain point where I'm going to take care of my own.
Yeah.
And we're good. You know, and and that's the point where you go, okay, you know, good luck with your thoughts and feelings on that, but I'm going to go over here now. You know?
I'm going to go over here. I'm going to spend some time by myself. I'm going to do what I do.
And that's directly, you know, goes to self-analyzing as well.
And I do that. And I do that now before I get to the point of being frustrated. Mm-hmm. I used to always get to the point where I was frustrated, where the argument developed. You're in the middle of the argument, and I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. Mm-hmm. I'm going in the garage. I'm going to go do something. You know, I walk away from it.
Right.
Not the ideal time to do it. You have to do it prior. This is where you get to know yourself. It's like today, this morning, I got up. I knew our day was going to be busy. My week has been really busy. You know, we had, you know, a lot going on last night. Mm-hmm. I just felt inside myself this churning kind of wasn't anger, it wasn't frustration. It was just, there was something that it was just amiss inside me. I got up this morning at 6:00, told Mom, I'm going to go take the car down. I'm going to wash it because I love going to the spray car wash where you spray it all off. You do it all yourself and vacuum it all out.
It's so zen.
Exactly. It is. So 2 hours in the car wash and cleaning everything, doing everything, did my soul good.
Right.
And then from there I stopped and I got a cup of coffee and I went down to the beach to check out the waves and just drank my coffee and then turned around, came home, and it's been a beautiful day all day because I recognized it before it happened. Absolutely. Because otherwise, in the old days, like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever it is, I would let it build because it's not me, it's somebody else. Somebody else is doing this to me.
What did you foresee happening this morning that made you decide that you were going to go?
I was just going to be in a bad mood. I just felt it coming.
Because of tension?
Whatever
it is.
Whatever it was. I think it was just a really a tough week at work, just trying to get stuff out on Instagram all week long, and then got different things going on in the house and what we have. It's just, for
you, what is that feeling that allows you to foresee being in a bad mood? What do your thoughts go sour? Do you have a feeling? Because sometimes it's a physical feeling, right? You physically, sometimes I can physically feel like my chest tightening, or I can feel like my blood pressure rising in my head, certain things like that.
Those are all signs. For me, it's just my thought patterns will change,
In what way? Of course, it'll be different between people, but it's something.
Say for example, if I were to get up and I would see towels, from the shower or something still on the floor, and not put away where they should be. Put them in the hamper, get them ready for the wash. See something like that. Oh my God, I'm always picking up after somebody. Or you walk out in the kitchen and there's some dishes in the sink, and it's just like, oh man, nobody ever does, and I can feel it kind of coming, and that's not me. I don't want to be that way. So that's when I tell myself, you need to take a break, dude. Go do something for Mike. Get away. It's it's okay to do that. I live in a house with all women. I have my twin 17-year-old daughters who are, for all intent and purposes, those are women. And Mom, and then we got Aunt Jody that comes on the weekends, and my world is surrounded by women all the time. So if I'm going to get a break, I got to go away to get a break.
Sure.
And I've recognized that now, and it's not a bad thing. And Mom, is totally supportive, and she understands it. So I get a text message, where are you? Because I get up and I leave and she's still in bed, and so it's like, I'm washing the car. Okay, have a good time. When are you gonna be home? That's how simple it is now.
The reason I ask is because I'm pretty sure I felt like that like every single day for the past few months, and I think the reason that, among other things, the reason that I'm here is because I need a drive to the car wash. I've been feeling that I'm getting frustrated at little things for no reason, and I don't like it, and I've recognized it, and I do not want to stick with that because it sucks. I don't like being frustrated.
Well, and here's the solution to that also. Don't look for a solution. When I go to the car wash, I'm not going to the car wash to find a solution. I'm going to the car wash just to let my brain stop spinning. And if I stop the spinning of my brain and having it going in multiple...
Find a solution to what? Your reason for being frustrated, you mean? Okay.
Yeah. I don't need to figure out why I was that way. It's just that was that way. Just breathe. Just enjoy. Enjoy the process. And it's amazing when you don't give it energy, it just goes away on its own. And by the time... And I'm going to tell you a true story, too. Mom and I, and we haven't done this in quite a while, but... we'd get into a huge fight, and neither one of us lets the other one talk. And then I get frustrated because I'm trying to say something and she's talking over me, or I'll do the same thing. And next thing you know, this thing is just escalated for no purpose whatsoever. And I've had it. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. And I'll get in my car and I'll go down to the beach and I'm going to watch the waves. I'm going to be here all day long and I'm going to go have some lunch by myself, or I'm going to go to this surf shop, check out boards. I'm going to do all this stuff. I'm not going home.
Right.
After a couple hours, I'm going, what Jill's doing?
I'm bored.
I'm bored.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, babe, how you doing? Call her up on the phone.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sorry too.
Yeah.
And you go home and then everything's okay again.
Yeah.
So
all of that thinking, all of that brain churning of I'm going to do all of this doesn't even matter because it.
I'll tell you what I always relate it to. It's when I was 5 or 6 years old and I told my mom I'm running away. And she would say, okay. And I would take off on my bike.
Okay,
and
have fun.
I'd get down to the corner and not know where to go and what to do. I'm lost.
You're
because
now I'm hungry.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell am I going to do without my mom and without the house?
Right.
So it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same
Absolutely,
thing.
yeah.
I run away and I get about a block away and I want to come home.
I'm definitely my mother's son in that I don't really run away from stuff. I don't walk away from things.
Yeah.
I would love to get to a resolution right now.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about it and figure it out. And sometimes it's the opposite end of the spectrum, right? Like you either I'm running away from home or let's talk about it until somebody does not want to talk to me about it.
Well, you gotta respect that too.
Yeah.
Because
absolutely.
not everybody's going to want to talk about it right now today
Right.
and get some conclusion on there. It is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but I don't know. I don't know if we cleared up all the world's problems or not, but maybe we cleared up a couple of yours.
Except for maybe world hunger. I don't know if there's much I can do about that.
No, not much any of us can do. We'll let people much smarter than us take care of that. Hey, it was fun. It was fun, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you for I'll call it a surprise because we're on camera, but
yeah.
telling me that somebody else was going to be here and then all of a sudden I have to try and
no, that was a blatant lie.
Pull myself together. That's more like it.
Yeah, it was a blatant lie. I just lied to you. So
I didn't sleep enough last night for this.
Oh, it was fun. We did. That's all it is. And hopefully people that are listening, and especially if we have the right age group in there listening, that they'll gain something from it. Because
absolutely.
It's go to work, whether you like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Be on time. Treat your job with respect. Treat your employer with respect. Treat the people you work with respect. Find happiness and some joy in everything that you do. You don't expect other people to give you the happiness, and don't think that buying a bunch of things are going to make you happy.
Yeah.
Because they give you, it's kind of like eating candy. You can eat a piece of candy because you craved it and it looks good, but within 2 seconds after swallowing it,
regret it immediately.
It's not even regret. It's like
I do.
You just want more.
Yeah.
Give me some more. And that's kind of the same thing. With buying stuff to make you happy. It doesn't work.
Sure.
There's really and truly not enough of anything in the world that is really and truly going to make you happy. That's a truism. Don't go after it. Don't think more money is going to make you happy because money is insatiable. There's never enough money because you get enough money to pay all your bills. Now you want the extra car to go above. Now I don't have enough money for the extra car. All my bills are being paid exactly what I wanted, but now I don't. So then you get enough money. Now you can buy the car too. Well, now I want a boat, and now I want, it's never enough. So stuff doesn't make you happy. Get it out of your head. Happiness comes from inside. So if that's one thing that I can pass on to all the young people is be happy with yourself. Figure yourself out. Not everybody's going to be happy with themselves right now, especially at that age because they don't know themselves.
Right.
Give yourself a chance, and everything will work out.
Working on it. Absolutely. Yeah. Easier said than done.
So with that, if you liked our little podcast, we'd leave a like, share, and subscribe. And you can catch me on Instagram, mike.podcast, and Facebook. It's, what is that? What is the Facebook?
Mike Nunley? It's your name.
There you go. So
God-given name. Yeah.
I know. So, and, with that, tune in again. And, we really appreciate everybody listening.
I appreciate you having me.
We had fun.
I'm gonna write down questions now, which I'm sure I'm going to just call you about and ask you. But we'll stick with, I'll write it down. That way we can talk about it on a podcast again next
sometime
time. Yeah,
soon.
We'll just have to go over what we talked about on the phone, but at least, somebody will be able to hear it other than us.
All right.
I'm going to go with that.
So, as always, be nice to everyone. Treat each other kindly. Find happiness yourself inside. And when you do, it's going to give you joy. Share that joy with others and stay strong emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Peace to all of you.
Bye. Have a beautiful time.